What if your home was haunted by more than just ghosts? What if it was haunted by all the souls that had ever died there? What if their spirits were so strong that they could drag you into another dimension? That's what happened to a young Saudi Arabian woman who decided to spend the night in the most haunted house in her country. This is the house in Janadriyah, Saudi Arabia. It's an old mansion filled with strange happenings. At first, it seemed like an ordinary house, but as time passed, rumors began to spread. People spoke of shadowy figures and disembodied whispers. They said the house wasn't just haunted, it was a portal to hell. It all started when the owner passed away. He'd lived in the house with his family for many years, but after he died, his widow moved out. She couldn't bear living in the house alone. Then a group of friends dared to spend the night inside. They never expected what awaited them. As darkness fell, strange things began to happen. One friend felt a cold hand on his shoulder. Another saw a woman in black standing at the foot of the stairs. When they fled in terror, they swore they heard the woman's voice echoing behind them. "Why have you come to my house?" The news of their terrifying experience spread like wildfire, turning the once quiet neighborhood into a hub of paranormal activity. Soon, everyone was talking about the haunted house. People came from all around just to catch a glimpse of the eerie mansion. They wanted to see the ghost of the woman in black. But she wasn't the only spirit that resided there. Some said the house was built on a burial ground, while others claimed it stood where an ancient tree once grew, a place where jinns or demons loved to dwell. One story goes back to the Ottoman Empire. It's said that a Turkish soldier executed his lover inside the very rooms where shadows now danced. Her soul, they say, is trapped there forever. There's also the tale of the old man who lived in the house with his 7 sons. Each son brought a wife home, but the old man disliked them all. He tormented his sons, forcing them to sleep in the courtyard. One day, the wives plotted and killed the old man. They chopped him into 7 pieces. Each son became the target. The vengeful sisters-in-law wanted to kill them all, but before they could, each brother fled to a different room. The doors were locked, and the sisters-in-law disappeared, leaving their unfinished revenge hanging in the air. These stories are just the beginning. There are countless tales of love, loss, and tragedy that are said to haunt the house. Some say the spirits roam the halls at night, while others claim they can be heard whispering secrets in the dead of night. But one woman was determined to find out for herself. A young Saudi Arabian woman named Latifa Al-Ghamdi lived in Riyadh. She'd heard the stories of the haunted house since she was a child, but she never believed them until she experienced it for herself. One night, she went to the house with 2 friends, Hassan and Faisal. They were all university students and thought it would be fun to spend the night in the haunted house. Latifa filmed the whole experience, capturing every moment on camera. As the night wore on, they told scary stories and joked to keep their spirits high. They didn't believe in ghosts, not at first, but as the clock struck midnight, everything changed. A sudden gust of wind blew through the house, followed by an eerie silence. The friends huddled together, listening intently. Then they heard footsteps in the hallway, heavy, slow, and deliberate. All 3 friends froze, their laughter dying in their throats. "Who's there?" Hassan whispered, his voice shaking. No reply, only the sound of their own breathing and the relentless pounding of their hearts. Then they heard a knock, slow and heavy, like someone knocking the door with a wooden hammer. Fear tightened its grip on them. They tried to convince themselves it was just an old house settling, But as the night deepened, so did the terror. Objects began to move on their own. Doors creaked open, revealing dark, gaping voids. Shadows flickered in the corners of their eyes, just beyond the reach of their lamps. Then Latifa saw it. A white figure at the end of the hall, tall and slender, almost translucent. She pointed, her finger trembling, and the specter turned, revealing a face obscured by darkness. The friends froze, their blood running cold. They fled the house, racing through the darkness, desperate to escape the unseen presence that pursued them. As they stumbled out into the street, gasping for breath, the first rays of dawn were painting the sky. They never looked back, not wanting to see the horrors that awaited them in the growing light. When they shared their story, no one believed them. They were mocked for being scared and for making up the whole thing. But Latifa knew what she'd seen, and she wasn't the only one. Many have tried to spend the night in the haunted house, but none have returned to tell the tale. Some say they vanished into thin air, while others claim they emerged the next morning, babbling incoherently about otherworldly beings in realms beyond imagination. And then there's the story of the missing photographer. A renowned photographer decided to spend the night in the haunted house. He wanted to capture the spirits on film, thinking it would be the ultimate challenge. But he never returned the film. To this day, no one knows what horrifying images it held. Now, let's talk about the most recent visitors. 2 men checked into a hotel near the house. They wanted to investigate and maybe even make a video, but they soon realized that they weren't alone. As they explored the empty rooms, they felt an overwhelming sense of dread. The air grew thick and heavy, and a bone-chilling cold seeped into their bones. They could hear whispers in the walls, disembodied voices that seemed to speak directly to them, warning them to leave. Suddenly, one of the men noticed a small hole in the wall. It was barely noticeable, almost as if it were a secret entrance. Curiosity got the better of them. They peered through the opening and saw a faint light emanating from beyond. With a mix of fear and excitement, they decided to investigate further. Pushing the heavy stones aside, they stepped through the opening and found themselves in a narrow passageway. The air grew colder, and the sound of their own breathing echoed around them. As they ventured deeper into the passage, the walls seemed to close in around them, and the air grew thick and suffocating. And then they saw it, a door made of pure black marble. It stood before them, its surface smooth and featureless. It was as if it had been carved from darkness itself. An inexplicable force seemed to emanate from the door, drawing them closer. With trembling hands, they pushed it open. The door creaked ominously, and as it swung inward, the room beyond was revealed. Inside was a swirling vortex of darkness, a void that seemed to suck the very light from existence. A low growl echoed from within, sending shivers down their spines. They hesitated, caught between their desire to understand and the primal fear that urged them to flee. The longer they stood there, the more the vortex seemed to call to them, promising answers. But at what cost? They decided to stay and see what would happen. As they stepped into the room, the door slammed shut behind them, plunging them into total darkness. They were trapped. The growl grew louder, and they could feel the floor vibrating beneath their feet. Suddenly, the air grew freezing cold, and a spectral figure began to materialize from the swirling darkness. It was tall and gaunt, with eyes that burned like red-hot coals. Its skin was as white as bone, stretched taut over sharp angular features. It opened its mouth, and they could see a pair of long, jagged fangs. They tried to scream, but no sound came out. The being advanced slowly, deliberately, and they could feel its malevolent presence closing in on them. They closed their eyes tight, bracing for whatever horror awaited them. And then everything went black. So what happened to the two men? Did the demon drag them into another dimension? Some say yes, some say no. The truth is, no one really knows. But there are those who believe that the house still stands, shrouded in mystery and malevolence. And at night, when the moon is full and the winds grow cold, the spirits of the damned are said to rise and walk the earth, forever seeking peace in the haunting grounds of the Janadriyah house.